Hello, everybody. Welcome. Apologize for being late, just working out some microphone issues. So, welcome to Somatic Self Healers. My name is Leah McQuaid, and I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're joining, and we get to do some healing work together. And I want to talk before we get into our healing session. I want to talk a little bit today about why you don't need to try harder, right? So, in the self development space, in this space of healing, right, we often think that we need to put more effort in, we need to try harder, and we have to improve ourselves. And all of that efforting, all of that trying so hard mm, causes more activation and more sympathetic response and from our autonomic nervous system. And nothing heals in force or push. And so I want to invite today an experience to help us access more of our parasympathetic. So the parasympathetic is that nourishing, rest, digest part of our autonomic nervous system. And we have to have this part on board, the parasympathetic response on board, if we want to access our healing potential. And one of the ways that we really start to harness and feel and acknowledge this parasympathetic and start to bring this part of our autonomic nervous system on board is through resourcing ourselves, right? And so I'm sure the things that you're doing already to resource yourself, I'm sure it's a long list, right? We hydrate ourselves and we exercise and we go to yoga and we meditate and we sleep 7 to 8 hours a night and we get our walks in nature and we spend time playing and we do the best we can at creating things in our lives, and we read all the books, we do the podcast, listen to the podcast, and yet there's still parts of us that feel stuck and unable to relax and fully soften into the parasympathetic, nourished, rested, open, fluid, flowing, radiant parts of ourselves, right? Yeah. So sometimes resourcing can just become one of the things that we do to check off our mile-long to-do list. Yeah, and we don't give ourselves the time and the space that we really need to embody the resources, and we don't give ourselves the time and the space to not only embody our resources, but to let like our own medicine actually be thy medicine, right? And so today, what I'm going to offer is a full tuning of the back chakras. So the back chakras are all about receiving, right? So we're going to do a tuning fork session that's going to help open up those energetic centers. And as I'm going through the tuning, sometimes I get the intuitive hits to mention some things and to talk through some things. And then other times it's not about that. So we'll see kind of how that goes. It's just an intuitive thing that I work with as the vibration and the tone comes through the forks. And the other thing, before we jump into the tuning, right, I want to offer an opportunity for us to start to build some safety within. So safety is the foundational principle that we need, to help us bring the parasympathetic on board. There needs to be a general sense of okayness, of openness, of aliveness, of flow, of okayness, of neutrality or goodness within our felt sense of what's happening inside of us for us to really heal or to feel uh, a sense of okayness, aliveness. I keep using those terms, but that's what's really coming to me right now, right? When we think about safety, safety is a sense that we're going to be okay on the inside. So there might be a lot of things that happen on the outside that feel chaotic. I mean, let's just acknowledge what's happening in the world right now. But yet, when we start to develop this sense of okayness on the inside, no matter what happens on the outside, we know that we can come back to ourselves and that will be okay. And when we really learn this sense of safety, it can be a game changer in our lives. And so I want to offer that now. We'll go ahead and move into this space of dropping in. We'll move into this space of resourcing ourselves. And so take a minute to find a space. Maybe you're in the car, or maybe you have the luxury of being in a comfortable space in your home. I invite you to just take a moment and just notice what supports you. So, no matter where you are in life, out in the wild, at work, wherever you might be, as far as I know, we're not levitating yet. So, there is always going to be a support underneath you. So, I invite you now to find that support. For me, it's my feet. Right? Have my feet underneath me, supporting me. Maybe you have the luxury of having a support underneath your head. Or maybe you can put your head in your hands. Whatever's behind you. Can be that nourishing, supportive, felt sense of okayness in this moment through what is underneath you. And maybe as you soften into what's underneath you, you do a little wiggles, a little shakes, some breath, sighing it out, or maybe some other sounds. Maybe a voo sound can come out of your mouth. Again, if you'd like, nice big deep inhale. Continuing to soften into the support underneath you. Maybe wiggling a little bit more. I'm still wiggling here, wiggling out all of the new YouTube live stuff, right? So, sometimes it takes a little bit of effort here in the beginning through our movement, through our breath, through our sound to help us settle into that support a little bit more. So feel free. Wiggle, shake out the arms. Continue with the breath. Maybe you do some shoulder, neck rolls, shoulder rolls, or maybe you roll the neck. Yeah. And if slowing down isn't in the cards for you today, And the discharge, the releasing, letting go practices feel really nice. By all means, feel free to fidget or move in any way you need to. I talk about heel drops a lot. These are one of my favorites. When you come up onto your toes and then drop back down onto your heels gently, right? Helps me find where my body is in space, which can be a really helpful resource for us when we're coming back into our state of safety and okayness within. It's like, where is my body in space, right? And if you're sitting, how's the pelvis? Maybe you can find your pelvis rooted down into the chair. Just softening anywhere that you might feel some bracing, maybe the inner thighs or the pelvic floor. Notice if the butt cheeks are clenched. Maybe soften the butt cheeks. Wrist circles always feel really nice to me. Continuing to sigh it out if sounding feels good for you. Continuing to sigh it out. Maybe some horse lips are in the cards for you today. And just noticing if you can soften 1%, maybe 5% more. Maybe you notice the shoulders are tense or tight. You pull them away from the ears. Maybe you breathe into the belly, noticing, oh, the belly is tight and clenching. Or maybe you can soften the belly. And your eyes can be open or closed as you practice just being with how you are in this moment. Noticing how your body might want to release or let go of anything you might be carrying, any of the stress from today or the week or even last week. You can do that through breath movement and sound. And then I invite you now to open your eyes for a moment and just take in your room. What do you notice about your space? Maybe you're outside or in your car. What do you notice about your space? Maybe there's a tree you're sitting under. You can notice a field of wildflowers. The wildflowers are gorgeous this time of year here in Texas. So I often notice all of the beautiful wildflowers coming up this time of year. They make me feel so happy. So maybe you look around your space, find something that makes you feel settled or soothed. Maybe it's an animal. Once again, all of these are resources as well. Right? All of these are resources for you as well. Your breath, noticing your breath. And first, just noticing how you're breathing and inviting in slower, deeper, more rhythmic breaths. Beautiful. And feel free to stay as you are, or if you'd like to transition for our tuning session in any way, feel free. And we're going to start with the 174 hertz fork. I'm going to grab that now. And oh, that's actually 222. Let me grab the 174. There we go. And we're going to start at the crown of the head and move through each one of the energy centers. And we'll just see what comes up, just staying open to what you notice in your body. As we start by clearing the crown chakra, and we're working the back of the chakras. You're more than welcome to come onto your stomach, or you can stay lying on your back or sitting in a chair. I oftentimes will breathe very audibly through our sessions. And if you hear me breathing audibly, just inviting you to also breathe in that deep, audible way. It just helps me move energy and clear energy. Yeah, and what's coming up here is just to mention, right, like what the tuning forks offer. And anything that has electricity running through it has a magnetic field around it. And our bodies, as we know from EKGs and EKGs and EEGs, right? The brain waves and the brain waves and the heart waves that they can measure, right? We know that we're electrical beings. And so we have a magnetic field around our body. And that magnetic field has information in it. And so I'm just hanging out in the crown chakra, bringing some harmony to anything in the crown chakra that might be out of balance or out of sync. So the crown chakra, there's not really a back to the crown chakra. The crown chakra is up, but the receiving part of this is just allowing for your higher self, your loving presence, your self energy, God, Buddha, Allah, Krishna, whatever it is that you subscribe to in the way of a higher power. It's letting that information come through. So, and receiving that information. And so I'm just clearing the field in the crown chakra, seeing what's here. You might bring your awareness to the crown of your head. And just start to think about creating space from your crown of the head, about 3 to 5 inches above the head here. Just noticing what you notice in your body. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, and then we'll move on now to the third eye, to the back of the third eye here. And I'm just hovering for a moment in the space just to hear what's here and to bring some harmony into the receiving of visions, receiving the wisdom. Yeah, the wisdom that's already in your body. It's the knowing and the remembering and the coming home to what you already know to be true. So, what's coming through here is receiving the messages of your body and receiving the messages and responding. Yeah. So we can connect to our body through all of these resources, right? Through yoga and meditation and walks in nature and all these ways that we resource ourselves. We can connect to our body in this way, eating nourishing foods. And then the next step is to receive and listen to the body. And so just helping clear anything that's in the way of you listening deeply to your body. And then the next step is responding, but we're going to stay with the receiving for a moment. And the responding to the body will be in the throat and sacral chakra, but we're just going to stay here for a moment where we just receive that information. Receive the sunshine on your face when you're outside. Receive the grounding energy when you put your feet on the earth. Receive the nourishing food and allow your digestion to soak up all of the nutrients from your food. Allowing your cells to receive the hydration that you give it. So just receiving all of the resourcing. And then just clearing whatever's in the way of you receiving the messages of your body. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll move on to the throat chakra. Whew, so just hovering over the throat. And immediately what comes through is the thyroid. So we just give a moment of attention to the thyroid. Allow the throat. And what's coming through is some sounding, some vibration might want to happen in the throat. So maybe you hum. Or you make some sort of sound that helps to vibrate the throat chakra. That's it. Yeah, when we think about the thyroid, one of the things that block the thyroid from working efficiently and converting and working well, right, is stress. Hashimoto's, for example, right, has a lot to do with stress. And so allowing, once again, coming back to the parasympathetic, right? So the sympathetic, there's a lot of output with the sympathetic, whole lot of output. And we need to balance that with the parasympathetic and have more inputs. So it's exactly what I'm offering here is an input to your thyroid, your throat, and can you receive that input? Beautiful. I'm just hovering over for another few moments. Okay, so clearing the back chakra, energy center. Of course, has to do with a lot of communication, receiving our creativity as well, our expression. All right. I feel like I could stay here in the throat for a long time, but we're going to go ahead and move on because I want to give you all really overall clearing today for the whole back chakra. So we're going to move on to the solar plexus, that space above the belly button to the rib cage, and the back of the solar plexus. This is an important chakra, because this is where we actually receive help from ourselves, which is exactly what our theme is for today, right? How can I receive my own medicine? So the intention here is just to clear any blocks in the way of you receiving your own medicine and allowing all of the resourcing that you're doing, let it to actually fill you up and resource you. And this is where we get to respond to the body as well. So we're connecting to the body. We did that through our safety practice when we started connecting with the body. We received the input and listening to the body, what the body might need. And then now we get to listen, not only listen, but respond. So maybe you practice that now. How might the body want to respond? And maybe you're noticing that you're really tired and you want to fall asleep. And if you have the time, you fall asleep by all means. Right? How else? Let's see how else you might be able to respond to your body. Maybe your body needs to stand up and wiggle and shake some more. Maybe you need a sip of water. Maybe you're hungry. Like, these are all kind of simple and obvious, but when we learn to override our capacity, we learn to override these simple ways that our body communicates to us. So we'll take the next few moments as we're just clearing the way, anything in the way of the solar plexus, and receiving your own medicine, and also receiving support from everybody else, right? So let's take a moment. I'm gonna be still. You can listen to the forks. I'm gonna be quiet, I should say. Not still, be quiet. And you get to be still though, if you'd like, or not, right? Just see if you can respond to one small thing in this moment that your body is telling you that it needs. Maybe another 30 seconds of just responding to the body. Last one here. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we'll move now into the sacral chakra, the sacral energy center. Whew, deep breath. That was a lot. Maybe you notice, notice a little bit more activation in your body, right? So coming out of some of that freeze or numbness state. If that's the case, feel free to move it through your body, remembering fight or flee wants to be moved through the body. So that's what I'm feeling. Oftentimes when I sense something in my body, it's what you all out there, even if you're watching this a week, a month, a year down the road, right? Even if you're watching this later, still noticing what might be happening for you all as well. Still relevant. So maybe you come back to a little bit of discharge. Breath movement sound. And we also entered the sacral chakra, which a lot of us have a really hard time receiving. This is where we receive pleasure and intimacy and money. Right? So I love these tunings because I put myself in the tuning as well. So I'm getting my back chakras tuned as well here. And so, yeah, lots of energy wants to move here. Maybe encourage you to really breathe deep. Our worthiness lives here. Yeah, and that plays a big role in our resourcing, right? If we don't feel worthy of our walks in nature and worthy of deep, nourished rest, and it's going to be hard for our cells to soak it up, right? Yeah, beautiful. Just clearing whatever's in the way to receiving. And I invite you to bring in some movement through, if it's comfortable and if it's accessible for you, maybe some movement in the hips or the pelvis. Maybe you do if you're standing, which chances are you're probably lying down. I'm going to do some hip circles. If you're lying down, you might do some hip gentle forward and back, posterior and anterior tilts of the pelvis. While you bring in the words, something like, I am worthy to receive. And you can create your own words if you'd like, something around, I am worthy to receive. As you're moving your hips, maybe you're doing pigeon pose in yoga, or you're doing a figure 4 or windshield wipers, or you're doing those hip circles. This feels nice for me right now. Yes. Okay. I am worthy of receiving. And just a few more moments here. Maybe take another 30 seconds or a minute with this movement, along with the affirmation. So when we bring an affirmation into our experience, but add the movement, that's where the affirmation can really start to be embodied, right? And then, of course, we've got the co-regulation in this space. We've got the tuning forks. There's a lot of things that can help us really embody that affirmation. So that's what I suggest when you're working with affirmations, right? Is to bring the body on board. That's it. Whew. A few more strikes of the fork here in this chakra. Beautiful. One more. Amazing. And we'll move now into the final chakra that we'll work with today, at the root. It's called the root chakra, at the base of the spine, the tailbone. So as I listen in, I invite you to really breathe down into the tailbone. And what's coming through, it could be because we're in springtime, there's this whole spring cleaning idea. But what's coming through is to create your environment in a way that feels resourced to you. Like, do you need to declutter? Do you need to put things on the wall that feel calming and grounding and nourishing for you, so you can allow your environment to support you, right? So that's really what's coming up here in this chakra. Inviting in a look at your environment. And it doesn't have to be your entire house. Let's start small, right? Maybe it's one room or even one closet, or you put one thing on the wall or some sort of decoration, or you get a new bookshelf. I love bookshelves. I love books. Yeah. Whatever it might be. Okay. Let's do 3 more nice big deep breaths down into, down into the tailbone. last breath here. Letting go, releasing, clearing anything that's in the way of you creating safety and allowing your environment to resource you here. A few more strikes of the fork. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I invite you to do all the things that might feel like a resource to you. So if you'd like to mention in the comments the things that really lift you up, support you, resource you, it could be really great for other people to hear what resources you could give other people some ideas. And if you notice something about our healing today that you'd like to share, I would love to hear it as well. And all of the things around subscribing, all those things that would be lovely. But most importantly, leave you with the prayer of opening up and receiving your own medicine. Your body knows, body has great wisdom to share with you, connecting, receiving, and responding to your body in whatever way it needs. It's just such a beautiful practice. So, all right, my loves, come a little closer. So good to see you all. Oh, no, I don't want to share screen. Oop, I don't know how to stop the video. Oh, here we go. Right up here. All right.